So I've had this box for almost 4 months now, and that's because God had other plans and we couldn't install it. But today we're finally gonna go ahead, open this thing up and install it on the G80 here. Now this thing does look great. Like, I love the setup that we currently have. One of the things that's lacking on the car is the entire front. It doesn't look as aggressive as it should or could. So today, that's what this box is for. And as you can tell, we got a bunch of different projects going on. So yeah, we're just gonna focus on this one today. Now, if you're wondering what this is a full carbon 3-piece lip from Horizon Motorsports. Now, like I said, this thing is gonna make the front of the car look a lot more aggressive and also gonna make it look a little bit lower. Our fitment is good, but the car doesn't look as low as it could. So this thing should hopefully help. And as you can tell, I'm glad we got some sun out today because you guys can see just how shiny and good this carbon fiber looks. So the nice thing about Horizon's lip is that everything comes pre-drilled so that all the mounting holes should line up perfectly. You don't have to do any drilling, guessing where the holes are gonna line up, nothing like that. The only kind of tricky part is that since this is a 3-piece lip, you are gonna have to bolt the different pieces together. So you have this outer fin, the center part, and the outer fin on that side. And when you lift this up, you're gonna see that there's a hole right there, and there's also a hole right there. And these are gonna get mounted together. Now, a lot of people recommend that you don't mount all of them together, but it is easier to get these connected on both sides before it gets onto the car. Otherwise, you're gonna have to kind of put your hand in from the back, try to tighten it up. So I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and mount both of these pieces together right now, actually all 3 pieces, and then from there, try to get everything on the car at once. Now, what I would usually do in this case is jack up the car from both sides, get it on some jack stands, and then from there just get underneath the car and start unscrewing everything. But I know a lot of people who are gonna be watching this are gonna be doing this on their driveway like myself. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do it with just a single jack. So that way, if you're installing the lip by yourself at home, you can just follow this video and know exactly what to do. So as soon as you get the car jacked up, the first thing you are gonna notice is that you have 2 10 mil bolts, and you're just gonna quickly remove those. Now, by far, this is gonna be the most difficult part, and that is gonna be to get the bolt right down in here. Now, the way to do that is you are gonna have to pull the bumper, push this piece in, try to get your socket on that bolt, and loosen it up. So take your time with it, don't damage anything, but once you get that off, you are gonna need to reuse that clip as well. So take your time with it and try to get that bolt out. We got it out, and just for confirmation, this one is an 8 mil rather than 10 mil, so just be cautious of that. So those are the only 2 sockets that you're really gonna need, an 8 mil, 10 mil, and you should be good to go. But yeah, now we got it out, on to the next part. So once you have the top and the sides off, there is gonna be a few 10 mils down here. And then a bunch of these plastic clips that you're also gonna need to remove. So once you have all of your plastic rivets and the screws out, it is gonna be the scariest part in my opinion, which is a BMW specialty. Honestly, there's always something going on this main road, but yeah, it's just gonna be tugging and pulling and hoping that we don't break anything. So it should pop out. And I'm gonna try to pull it from the bottom as well, so it pulls out straight, but there we go. I just want to show you guys the before and after here. So this is your stock part, and as you can tell, just typical gloss black. And then this is your carbon piece, and you can see clearly just how much more aggressive it is compared to the factory one. And yeah, this is nice. This is a nice little touch to the car, but this is gonna make a huge difference. Now we're not done just yet. We do need to do the exact same thing on the opposite side, and we also need to remove some of the screws down here on the bottom, which I can show you as well. The side fins connected to the centerpiece, and then as well as this side, and that's how it's going to look. So you got a bolt on the outside, on the inside, and that should be strong enough to hold this thing in place, or at least connect it together. That's the main goal here. And just make sure that when you're doing this, you line up your gaps perfectly so this front end fits up perfect, and same thing on the other side. But now it's just a matter of cleaning all of the stock areas where the tape is going to meet up. Make sure you're using some rubbing alcohol or something. Make sure it's nice and clean, and then we're going to go ahead and start pressing the lip on, and then just making sure our fitment is good, and then from there we'll start removing our red tape. Peel the backing off the red tape here, and not much, just enough where you can kind of seat it over the part just like that. And just make sure you do that across on both sides, just in case it rips on one side, because that's happened more times than I can count. Alright, so we got the front lip on, and as you can tell, we got most of it lined up pretty well. Now we do have a second set of hands now, because it is a little bit difficult to get the bumper pulled out far enough to get that bolt back in. So this is going to be an issue that you all run into at home, but it is possible if you take the full wheel well liner out. Now since we're not doing that today, grab a second set of hands and it should be a lot easier. But once we get those bolts in, we can start tightening everything up from the bottom, and then removing the tape and just finalizing the overall placement. So that's going to be kind of the next steps we take. But yeah, and then after that, we can get the car back down on the ground and see how it looks. But as you can tell, it looks pretty good so far. So we got this lined up perfectly. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty hard to get that bolt back in without removing the fender liner. So if you can remove the fender liner, highly recommend it, but I know most people won't, so we went with that route. Usually I would remove it, but now this is exactly why I said don't remove the backing all the way just yet, because now, actually let me just make sure the screws aren't in here. Yeah, now we're good. So now we can remove this. Press the lip into place, just like that. And now everything should stick because we cleaned it multiple times. And just like that, we're good. So this one is lined up now. The center one looks like it's lined up pretty well, so we don't have to worry about that one. And then we're just going to do the exact same thing on that side. But before this pops back off, I am going to bolt it from the bottom, and I have these two screws right here to make that happen. Alright, so before we show it to you guys, I'm going to go ahead, get the car back out, get into the sun, and yeah, honestly, well worth it. So that is the final result. As you can tell, this thing adds a good amount of aggressiveness to the front end of the car. And I love that. I love the little two vents right there in the front. And I love how far out it comes. But yeah, like I said, usually when you get other lips, you are gonna have to deal with some fitment issues, but honestly, this thing lined up pretty much perfect. You can even see the double-sided tape stuck on across the entire thing. All the holes for the bolts and whatnot lined up perfectly. And this is how it looks from the side as well. But yeah, now that we're done, honestly, super happy, and huge shout out to Horizon for sending this lip out. Just gonna give you guys another look on how it looks on the car. Ooh, that looks so good. Again, it just adds on to the aggressiveness of the rest of the car. I think that was one of the main things that was missing. And Horizon, if you're watching this, you know what we got to do next. Grill and the vents, just to finish it off. Honestly, one thing I didn't really notice as much before was these little vinyl cutouts, but now with the lip, it makes it a lot more apparent. And obviously it's carbon. Everyone loves some nice carbon. And like I said before in the past, this car has a lot of stuff coming for it. We got a lot of plans, so we're going to continue working on it. But I guess for this one, we'll call it here for today. Appreciate you all watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.